My name is Derek Mosley. I'm the director of Marquette Law School's Lubar Center for Public Policy Research and Civic Education. And it's my pleasure to welcome you today to our Get to Know program. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the Get to Know program, when I was growing up on the south side of Chicago, there was a news reporter by the name of Harry Porterfield. And Harry used to do this program called Someone You Should Know, or People You Should Know. And I used to watch it as a kid and as I grew up as a teen, and I loved it because it gave me access to people that I would never have before. So I decided I wanted to bring that over to the Lubar Center and introduce you to people that you may not even be aware. So whether you are traveling and passed by on I-94, whether you went to a conference, a wedding, maybe patronized one of the restaurants, went to a concert, played bingo, or even slots in the casino. The Potawatomi Hotel and Casino has a huge presence here in Milwaukee. And I want to just tell you a couple of things that, I don't know, you may or may not have known, that the Potawatomi Hotel and Casino pays $2.5 million in taxes each year on the hotel alone. Pays $5.8 million to the counties and city of Milwaukee. And the person who's at the head of all of that is our guest here today. Please join me in welcoming Dominic Ortiz. Good to have you, brother. So, Dominic, welcome.
Thank you.
And you grew up in Lawrence, Kansas. And tell me, what did your parents do?
Yeah, so, my father had worked for Hallmark Cards for after, coming out of the Marine Corps. He's a U.S. MC sniper, Vietnam vet, came back, got his degree, and ended up, actually got a job for a utility in Marysville, Kansas, and he got on with the utility company. My mother and my brother, we had lived up there. I was born up there in a very small rural town, Marysville, but it quickly became evident to my mother and my father that it was not an area that they wanted to raise their kids. Okay, it's just sometimes these tough rural areas are small. It's not something that they had seen that would really get us to the next level, and they were worried. So they moved us to Lawrence, Kansas, and my dad had to quit his job at the bequest of my mother, and he quit and found work at Hallmark Cards and was the best supervisor you ever found until he ultimately decided the nation, I'm an enrolled member of the Prairie Band Potawatomi Nation of Kansas, and the nation wanted my dad's leadership to be on tribal council, and he ran and got on and had a long, fruitful 15-plus year career, and also being tribal chairman of the nation. And all that time, my mother only had one job. She graduated high school in Lawrence, Kansas, and went to work for State Rehabilitation Services, SRS. So when I grew up, she spent 38 years on the front line, and the only job she ever had, and retired, and helped people every day and dealt with whatever help the city needed, whether, those are just difficulties in the city, even Lawrence, even though it's a small rural town. But I got to grow up around that, and that's really what my two parents did.
Okay, so you mentioned the military. Your dad was a veteran,
yeah.
And you have a long history of vets in your family, correct?
I do.
And I just want you to tell this story. I know if you don't want to tell the story, but I asked why the Marines, and you said that your dad told you specifically why he chose the Marines. Would you care sharing that?
Yeah, when I was 17, about to graduate, he's like, you really got three choices, son, okay? You're going to get out of my house and get a job, you're going to join the Marines, or you're going to go to college. And he said, I highly suggest you go to college, okay? And he goes, no, I'd asked him, I said, Marines, huh? Why Marines, Father? And he said, well, the Army killed too many Native Americans, son. So I volunteered for the U.S. Marine Corps and went to Vietnam because both your grandfathers were World War II vets, and one battled the Bulge, Purple Heart, and was the janitor at my high school. So got to go in the janitor's closet and hang out with my World War II grandfather. Man, he could clean them floors for me, man. Hey, don't pick that up. Who's throwing trash, you know? And my other grandfather was Operation Torch through Italy. And, you know, as I was blessed as a child to have all four of my grandparents in my life and influential. So
that's amazing.
You know, it's and so my other grandfather who fought through Operation Torch he you know, always took us on trips and always have fun. But he would always say, "Look, your grandfather here in Battle of the Bulge, he went to. I didn't go to World War II. This is he did the. That's the real deal. He was a bombardier, couldn't hear. He was that guy throwing those socks with the bombs up in the deal, man, and trying to knock them off their racks, you know."
Oh, yeah.
So so he didn't hear good. So you know, we didn't talk a lot. You could tell that was, you know, and him from the two difference from my grandfathers. One could communicate and we could really talk, and I could listen to him, and he could help me grow and taught me the way of that generation. Right, we get things done. We're going to do it right, and I'm going to yell at you. Okay, and that's love. You know,
Yep.
that's love. That's training.
So you're an enrolled member of the Prairie Band of Potawatomi, correct?
Yes.
And could you tell us just a little bit about the Potawatomi?
Yeah. So the way my grandmother tells me, she said not that long ago. You know, and I'm from Kansas because the Army told her grandparents that they had 5 years to march across the Mississippi, and it was the Chicago Treaty of 1833, and the Potawatomis were all together here, and these are the traditional homelands, as this was the summer camps and the waters and the ways, and they, you know, lived through here as we were known as the enforcers, as it's been passed down to us. There were individuals that handled the accounting. You know, like the Odawa or the Ojibwe were the ones that carried the drum, and the Potawatomis were the ones that made sure everything in the economy stayed apples to apples and oranges to oranges, and kept things in this nation and this territory and the trading zones of the Potawatomi lands here and around the Great Lakes. And so they had 5 years, and they had to walk to Kansas and had this reservation, and that's where my grandmother and all my relatives reside. And you know, we are on the rolls. We had to accept the Constitution. We accepted Robert Rules of Order. So as my elders have told me, I was blessed to go back home and work with my family and my tribe, and my dad is chairman and my brother for over a decade, and I got to go to the ceremonies with my elders and my relatives and hear the knowledge and the things that we're saying that were passed down for us in that nation. So us having to, knowing that history we originally came, so my dad's like, well, when you get to Wisconsin, tell them you're not from Wisconsin, but you should have been, you know. You know, so just in case they don't know. But, you know, what I've learned traveling, Midwest Nice goes with us wherever we are. I realize who we are, you know, coming from these particular areas. We seem very similar in nature. I thought you guys were Canadians, all right? Maple syrup and things. You're not Midwest, you know. We're Kansas. We're on the Nebraska. We're on the, you know, we're on the Missouri border. We'd like, man, that's Canada, man. I didn't even honestly think it was Midwest and Michigan and Wisconsin until I got to know everybody. You know, I worked on a.
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah. So, your government name, right? I refer to as government name is Dominic.
Yep.
But you have a native name, and that was given to you. Would you care sharing that?
Yeah, in our traditional ways for Potawatomis, we're named as children around that fire. So when you see Potawatomi and you see that flame, that's not a logo. That's our religion. That's our power. That's what we pray to. And it kind of begins and ends there for us. So when you're young, your relatives will see that you're brought to a respected religious leader or medicine man, and they have naming ceremonies in the spring. And that ceremony is started by either the first strike of lightning that you hear, and those elders get together and they said, I heard that lightning, that was the first one. We're going to call the date and we're going to have these spring ceremonies. Or maybe, as the Ojibways tell me, that first croak of the frog. When someone hears that, then they get together and they set the date, and they choose a name for you that they from somebody that had passed away, and it's a traditional name that had been down for generations, and so they give you that name and put you in that ceremony. So 1982, I was named around that fireplace with my grandmother's brother, who was one of the last traditional medicine men. So my name's Pucknane. My dad is Monwa, and my brother is Katnabi. My dad's name represents that wolf as he comes down through that grass in the valley. And my brother represents a old spirit and an elder that when the time came for us to live on the reservation, he just said, look, I'm going to the woods. I'm just going to live our ways in life, and I'm not coming out. Now it's Katnabi. And then me, I supposed to represent that night spirit that comes out after midnight in our ceremonies. We'll blow an eagle whistle and recognize those spirits and our ceremonies and call. And so when you get past midnight, that's what I was to represent. My clan's a bear clan, and my color's red. So in our ceremonies, you say these things to your relatives as we follow our traditional ways to know you like that.
Thanks for sharing.
Sure.
I saw a YouTube video of you as a young man, and you were introducing the then President of the United States, Bill Clinton. And what I loved about the story is you told about how you were an entrepreneur and used to sell native jewelry.
Yeah.
Where did you sell that?
Yeah, in Lawrence, Kansas is the only all Native American university left, right? These were boarding schools, and when federal policy in New York, they determined termination for the tribes is the policy, kill the Indian, save the man. Let's take their children. Let's put them in these schools. You're not going to speak your language. We're going to take it from you. And so my dad said that broke our family circles harder than these reservations. They destroyed them. If someone took your kid, it's a devastating thing. And so his generation was forced to piece back together our religion and our ways and bring us back together around that fire and that circle. So there's this generational gap that is missing, if you will.
Yeah, it was so funny was after you introduced Bill Clinton, he comes up, President Clinton, and he's like, Dom, thank you for everything. And then you gave him a piece of jewelry that you had sold. And I thought to myself, man, you like the first influencer. You got the President of the United States to wear your jewelry. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I didn't get to the story there. I get lost sometimes when I tell things, and so I forget about President Clinton. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and so I was in graduate school, and so I was at high school, and I was selling jewelry. I was part of the American Indian Business Leaders. I had won a business plan competition, and I was selling Indian jewelry to Indian casinos as they started coming up in the 90s. And I was trying to put together a plan. I was working with a tribal member from that was an enrolled member of the Laguna Nation, and they had jewelry down in the Southwest, so we would put in orders and just try and design and feed the artists and get the artists and give it to the jewelry and make some money. Did no idea what I was doing, by the way. So, I didn't have a CPA. I didn't know what a CPA was. I didn't, I had people around me, but without education or people in your family that know business, no background, and no, so I didn't know what I was doing. I knew to make money, and my parents, weren't going to they didn't have money to share. So, if you didn't sell something, you weren't going to eat, or I wasn't going to pay my car insurance, I wasn't going to have any gas, or whatever it was. So anyway, I get a phone call, and they're like, it's President of the United States. The President of what? And he's like, the President. I'm like, I got a test tomorrow. He's like, it's the President of the United States. I'm like, what? So I get over there, I'm like, hello? And he's like, yeah, this is Jane and John from the Secret Service. I'm like, this is real. I'm like, yeah. So what do you think of Clinton? Great guy, And so boom, I get flown out to D.C. and I was selected as the first time President Clinton was ever going to address Indian country in his administration. So this was a real big deal. You had Wilma Mankiller, you had the real leaders who had been for 40 and 50 years, the leaders of tribal nations all coming together. And so we went in, and it was early, 3-4 hours early before the speech, and he comes down the elevator, and they have all of the leaders lined up, and they're shaking hands. And I had this plan to give him a bracelet. And so he comes down, where's Dominic? He's going to introduce you. How you doing? I was like, man, I chickened out, man. I was just like a whim. I chickened out. And for 2 seconds, then I got my confidence. President Clinton! He's like, oh, turns around and Secret Service, and I'm like, hey, no, I brought this for you. And I took it off and gave it to him. And he's like, coming with me. And Chief of Staff's like, well, you're going with the president. What? Just go with the president. Okay. That's how he is. I'm Dom, by the way, to President Clinton now in 2 seconds. It's just like he makes you feel like you're the most important person in the room, no matter where you sit on the lines. If you meet him, he was just that way about him. And by the way, this is the first day Monica Lewinsky was testifying. So she's on the front page. Me and President Clinton are on every USA Today and CNN that exists across the country, and me and him are on the back page together. And I was like, man, the one day, in my 15 minutes of fame, you got to get up in there. When's he going to take the front page? It's okay. So he takes me out of the line, and I go with him. And so we go to 3 or 4 meetings. We walk in some meetings. There's huge X on the floor. He takes a picture in front of like 300 people. We go next meeting, and we finally get into a smaller room, and it's me, him, Secret Service, and I'm like, oh, this is smaller. It's just a little bigger in this room. It's just different, and boom, it's like 5 lawyers run through the door, and they're all Native American women, and they don't walk in. They kick that door. Oh my God, President Clinton. I'm standing there going, oh, come on, don't, okay. And they all come up, well, we want a picture. So Clinton takes his picture with them and all, he takes his coat off. Dom, hold this for me. I'm like, okay. I'm holding, he's looking at his bracelet. Man, you the man, that's something. He's loving it, and he takes his pictures. And so
that comes back, that actually comes back.
It does come back.
He does mention you when he wears the bracelet, but I want to make sure I have this correct. You worked at Harrah's when you were 18?
I was about 20, so my tribe, that was when these casinos came to the tribes and said, hey, you guys are wonderful Indian people. We want to help you. We want to loan you money. I'm going to help you, and we're going to teach all your tribal members to take this casino, and then we're just going to walk away. We're going to make you beautiful, and we're just going to walk out the door. And so, I voted for it. We didn't have no money, and they had the experience, and they were going to come in. They said they were going to train us. We'd be able to tribally own and operate it. They were just there to lift us as people and take us into this business world and protect us. So, ultimately, things came to full fruition, and I ended up being the tribal member on the floor that put the vote to get rid of them some years later, and the elders and the people backed me and moved me up to the front of the GC agenda, and we voted, and I had my first lesson in politics. I went against the tribal council, and because I believed in the people and what the people said, and I said, I'm with them. But I was young. I didn't understand about administrations and the power to be of the institutions and the leaders of how to get everybody on board and do things. I was just in a young mindset to make change and do what's right for the people, and I don't care what you up there are having to say. So I got my lesson. I won that vote 98%, and then they came after me with everything they got. My own people, man. When you go against your leadership and take the people on your back and you say what you're going to do, they're coming for you, man. It don't matter who it was, but my grandmother always stood beside me, laughed, encouraged me, had her little cigarette. That was that little thing in there. Just don't want them out there, man. Just do what you're going to do. She just go on. She never even worried about it. So that's all I cared about, pleasing. So the rest of them are going to do whatever they're going to do. Then it's just another life lesson to me because it's going to be that way.
What'd you do there?
So I spent over a decade and worked my way up from an intern to a supervisor to a regulatory compliance to a financial controller to a director of finance to a director of food and beverage, finally becoming a CFO over the entire property and all the payroll processes. Got my CPA license, completed that, and just got to be with my family and my dad and going to work and being with the nation. If there ever was a ceremony or anything I needed to do, I got to go to it. And that was a blessing for me to hear the last words of my elders as they were around these circles, whether they had whatever illness or ailments they might have had, to come in and be around that circle and to them to tell me what they wanted to tell with me had times and difficulties in their lives and the things that they passed. Maybe they got cancer, and they came in and said, I was told this week I got cancer, and this is what I'm going to tell you guys. So things like that were powerful, to live through and be with them and hear those things passed on.
And that connection with Clinton kind of got you set up with an interview with the Big Four accounting firms, right?
Yeah, I didn't get anything from Clinton, man. I thought, fame on my business, what did I get? And I'm back here in my parents' basement again. Mom, meatloaf! Where am I going? I ain't got nothing. So I was like, all right. So fast forward, I get, I don't know what a CPA is. I don't really have any mentors. I don't know that you got to have the business club. You got to get in these deals. You got to network. You got to be around the people. You got to get internships with these Big Four firms. You're not just going to walk through the door and interview and get hired, man. And so I was naive and just, I was like, yeah, look, I was pretty impressive in my circle. I'd done had associates, bachelors, working on a master's accounting and information systems. I'm like, dang, I should be set for this. So I had 4 interviews. I was like, yes, and 1, 2, 3, I got laughed at. The door's right there. Don't let it hit you on the way out, kid. Okay. I go to the last one, and he's reading a newspaper, man. And what do you know, KU? They did a special on me and put me on the front page with President Clinton that they were proud of a KU student going to the White House and introducing him in front of 100,000 people and how amazing it was that somebody did that. He's reading. I walk through the door and, damn, that's you. Sit down. I was like, okay. I get to tell my story, And he let me tell my story, and he realized, man, you were just with the President of the United States, and you made it all the way up there on your own. You gave the speech, and on the news. Look, that's impressive. Why don't you go? You're going to the second round, and I made it to take my skills and my background, and my personality, and my story to Kansas City to second round Ernst & Young, and they hired me.
How was that experience?
Man, it was tough, but it was tough love. People like us that come out of this, we need individuals around us to tell us when we're doing good or not doing good, because a firm like that, people may have had a generation of individuals around them or were groomed through internships and knew the culture and what to walk into. Firms are serious, right? It's Big Four, it's big business. You expected to be the best of the best and walk through the door, but I just didn't quite click. I was in the casino for a couple of years, so I was wearing suits every day, paying jackpots, picking up trash, slinging coin, and I walk in every day with shoes shining, fresh suits. So I thought I'd show up on the first day like that, show my best self forward, and I got made fun of, and because this guy in a suit, man, it's a freaking joke. It's just, sorry guys, I just trying to do my best. And so
you didn't have the Brooks brothers.
it was what it was. So I just put my head down, went to work, and after the first year they sat me down. It's like, look, man, you're not going to be here again if your work's like this. And I'm like, she docked me for a period. I forgot a comma. She couldn't put the comma in there. And it's like, you get review notes, and if you get over 15, you're done. And they start talking, and people don't pick you up on the engagements, you're done. And so I just said, I realized it quickly, and I said, all right, man, I've always worked hard my whole life. I'm going to step up to the game, and I'm going to do everything I can to compete and be there. And by the next year, I'd been offered a promotion to senior and took over the largest sprint engagement for IT general controls for the Ernst & Young office, and was put in charge and was star of the year. And awesome. Got to travel around Berkshire Hathaway and be Warren Buffett's audit woman's right hand. I did the hospitality thing. I got her bags, I got the doors, I set up her stuff, I got her coffee right, and made sure, because I understood the game. If they didn't pick you up on the engagement, you weren't getting work. And these other kids were too mindful of that. I said, look, I come from casino business. We take care of people, so I'm going to just do what I do. And she recognized that, and she liked it, and then I worked hard, and they picked me up on all their engagements and everything, but the damage had already been done for me. And when the tribe called back an opportunity to be with my dad, my brother, and go back around all this, I didn't think twice about it. Look back, I just left the firm. I looked dark back about it. I was thinking, man, I'm kind of partner life and all that kind of stuff. But hey, life is life.
So you go back to the casino?
Yeah, go back to the casino and then start that 10-year path, working all my way up to CFO eventually.
And then Michigan calls, right?
The Mexico border.
Oh, that's right.
Tarantulas and
Yeah, you have to tell the
rattlesnakes
story.
and
You have to tell
feral
that story.
pigs. So, yeah, whether you know it or not, the Kickapoo traditional tribe of Texas lives in Eagle Pass, Texas. If anybody been watching the news and these two international bridges and all this border security and stuff, that's where I lived. The Rio Grande River was 50 yards from my house. Is where the Rio Grande River was. I lived with the community and the people for almost 3 years, and I love them. You know, it was a beautiful border town. The Kickapoos fought in the Mexican Revolution, and they helped them win. And they came to their traditional chief and said, "You take whatever you want." And they staked out a whole Nacimiento Valley about an hour south of the border. They have a full recognized sovereign government inside Mexico. Full rights to do whatever they want, granted to them, and the only people in Mexico that have that right. The tribal chief is with the president of the government looking at these pictures, and I'm with the tribal chief's son, Anaco, man, Erasmo Anaco. And Anaco, if you look up that name, you'll see the traditional chief of the Kickapoo tribe, and he's down there with the president of Mexico, man. And so we were running two governments, man. We were here on the Rio Grande River with the largest Class II gaming operation in the United States with 3,800 slot machines, a 200-room hotel. I had donkeys, I had fighting chickens, man, I had border patrol. You know, it was, 99% of my workforce was minority. You know, you start out your day with Buenos Dias, and the whole room was Buenos Dias. You know, it's just like that down there. And loved the Kickapoo people. They gave me an opportunity to expand my wings to get a greater management job and live down there in the Mexico border and understand what's going down there with the people and live with them. And, you know, I hung out with ICE and DEA and Border Patrol and, you know, enjoyed drinks with them and sat. That's what we did, you know, through the summer. These guys are Mexicans, they're Puerto Ricans, they're Latinos protecting your border down there and need your help. You know, they go out there in the woods, they lay in the ground, they're watching the border. These rattlesnakes don't rattle because the feral pigs have stomped them out. So you got to crawl on the ground, and you don't know if the rattlers anymore. You got tarantulas and all kinds of scorpions, you know. So these guys are out there on the grounds at night in territory.
Sign me up.
You know, you know, and so, yeah, I just, you know, you get to understand who's down there, what they're doing, what's really happening, and the effect of people in life on the border. They follow me on LinkedIn and cheer me on because I'm part of the EP community down there, and they like seeing somebody that came from the Mexico border and is up doing things in the States and the city and showing them, you know, whatever you want to go and whatever you want to do, America's here for you. You just got to work hard and keep your head up, man.
Then how'd you get to Michigan?
Yeah, so then the Saginaw Chippewa Indian tribe of Michigan had recognized me on LinkedIn and the work I had done and my CPAs, and had reached out and said, look, will you come up and interview for the CFO job? It's not just the casinos, it's over the tribal government and economic development. You will be the global CFO. And I said, man, I was trying to go CEO, GM route. That's why I took an AGM job down there, but now CFO is calling me back. And I'm like, I never done governmental accounting, right? And so I was all enterprise accounting and did it on this side. So for me to get that opportunity, I was super blessed and took it on full force, and I always wanted to do that. So I spent 5 years up there, and COVID hit, you know, and I became in the top seat, right? We had to shut the entire nation down, all the casinos, all the governments. We had to file the money. I pushed the button for the CARES Act, and it got stuck in the firewall. Oh my God, all night, all line, $45 million, the whole tribal council looking at me, and it's stuck in the firewall, and I don't know it. And I pushed the button with my team all around me. Here it was. And we're waiting, okay, email confirmation. Nothing, all night long. And they're like, maybe it's busy, maybe it's broke. IT says it's not in the firewall. I'm freaking out all night. I get my accountants up at 2 in the morning to go to the portal to file for it, man. And you know what? Then they started freaking out. My accountants, now I got like 42 instances, and it still ain't come back. I'm up the next morning about to fall over and croak, man, going, there ain't no money. I'm done. Just here's my license, here's my stuff. I'm done, you know. And then the IT comes up and says, stuck in the firewall. Well, which one? There's like 47, so get the last one. Just do it. And we pushed it, click, and we got our let's just say $40 million plus money, a CARES Act to get the nation back on its feet, to get our payroll, to get things to reactivate. And then comes federal, tribal, state law. You're shut down, can't open up. What are you going to do on tribal land? Sovereign. You can't tell me what to do from a state to state. And it's not like you can't tell me what to do. It's just, look, we've had a federal relationship for hundreds of years in this country and made treaties that should have been honored. So we're supposed to be on a federal relationship. So, we always work with the state, but, just respect our territory and come to the table to talk. So we opened up and Whitmer didn't, wasn't going to do anything about it. And we Potawatomi tribes all called each other and we all said, we're opening tomorrow. We got temperature guns, we've got clean teams, and we won't open up table games and we'll just do slots. So that's what we did.
All right.
And 5 years over there until I got the call over here. Then I just got my contract renewed as the CFO for, and that's a pretty big deal. And this job came open and interviewed for it because I am Potawatomi, but I'm not Forest County Potawatomi. But, for me to be on this journey in full circle and go from the Mexico border and all the way back up here and now to Potawatomi tribe and the CEO job opens, and I finally got enough experience and education and background to interview and to go for it, and I did it and I got it.
And you just mentioned something briefly about Forest County Potawatomi, because that treaty, that Chicago Treaty of 1833, some went that way and some were like, no, we're going to keep going north, and you're going to come and get us, right?
That's right. And his quick story, I'm glad you brought that up. So the Forest County in that 1833 treaty, all the Potawatomis had 5 years to get west Mississippi. Well, a group of them said, no, we're going north, man. Renegade. We're just going to go live. They ain't coming after us.
And Wisconsin was just a territory then, so it wasn't a state.
So they went north to Forest County, hid out, man. They chased them for 80 years. Federal and state officials couldn't round up them natives up there, man. Finally, in 1913, all right, we'll recognize you as the Wisconsin Potawatomis. They're still on our rolls as a Prairie Band Potawatomi nation. So FCP still don't have their separate roles, but they recognized them. And then they, got a small reservation up there in Crandon. And once they realized that they put them where the trees were, it's like, you got to move. We need all those trees. And then they pushed the tribe over. Then they realized, well, we put you where there are no trees. And the chairman said me, no, now what they want our minerals, because you realize you pushed us for the trees and you pushed us where no trees. And you know what's under that? Minerals. And then they were coming for their mineral rights, So it was, the chairman told me a story of sovereignty and rights and said that his grandfather got chased up the hill by the DNR and rolled down and hurt himself and fell down, and he came up and he was chasing him on tribal land, and they had tribal hunting and fishing rights, and he should not have been chasing his grandfather, and he went and burnt the car down. They had one of the largest manhunts for him when he was a teenager up there, and he was standing on a hill just watching them all come in. You ain't gonna find me, keep coming by, But you crossed this, you did this, you pushed my grandfather down the hill and hurt him and chased him on his own tribal land for just trying to fish, So I did what I was gonna do. That's where tribal sovereignty comes to. Sometimes you gotta fight for what's right and just stand your ground no matter the consequences. And that was the message of one of the chairman when I got here to tell me his story about fighting for tribal sovereignty, what it means. And he ultimately, manhunt came down for him. And he said, I went to the chairman at that time and I said, I'm right here. You get my lawyer to get me out of this, or I'm coming for your job as chairman. And they got him out. Man. He got him out. And years later, as a different man called me, comes back as a elder and as tribal chairman that hired me and chose me and told me that I was here because, I was brought here.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
So you get here, you get to Milwaukee, you see the casino, but you had a vision.
Yeah.
Tell us about your vision.
I appreciate that. Yeah, when immediately when I came to the casino, they had a beautiful hotel, but all their key gaming areas were over 18 years old. So me having the opportunity now, 25 plus years experience and being through 3 different properties and expansions and understand the industry, you cannot have your facility get run down when new competition enters the market. You have to be at a Hard Rock, at a Bally's, at a Wynn, at a Caesars level in your decor, your finish, your service, your tech, your food, your amenities. And it was real apparent, they shut it down from COVID, and it was the perfect opportunity, but also a nightmare, right? Everything was shut down when I came over here, and they had a few slots open, no food, no hotel, no table games. The tribal council sitting here just like you saying, what are we gonna do? And so that vision was to elevate the game and to bring a newly remodeled casino never before seen, and bring of the best talent across the country in to develop it, to drive it, to do it, to bring the vision. And this chairman, man, that elder, he was a visionary. He even knew how to talk to me, telling me Creator brought me here and made me feel good. Made me feel good like that I'll walk on fire for him. That chairman knew how to talk to his people, man, and tell them what they needed to do to get ready for the challenges ahead, because he could see these things, and he was a real leader like that. Made me feel good. Chills on me. I'm blessed, man. This is the chairman, man. Because I've known all the tribal chairmen in both our tribes for 30 years, so I've heard these men say these things and speak in these circles and say it. So to me, but yeah, so I sat down with them, and so then I, through my circles, we didn't talk about that, but I was appointed as a global board of directors for the AICPA and SEMA. Flew around the world, and it's a coveted position of CPAs all across the country. And in that circle, I got mentors, and one of those mentors owned the largest tax practice in Boston and wanted to mentor me, and flew me out to his house, and I got to come drive his Corvette and stay in his house, and he invited me and got to meet his friends. And one of his friends he brought over happened to be a guy who took care of Neil Moffat's house. He built the #1 and #2 nightclubs in the world in Hakkasan. He ran the entire Hakkasan development group. He built the Bootsy Bellows restaurants. He's a savant of all types that they hire to come in and fix what needs to be fixed. And he's an owner's rep. And so when I got here, I was like, man, if we're going to do something great, I got to have great people around me. So let's get the best of the best. And I'll start with him. And then I had another lady that was full Harvard MBA, 30 years of experience, big, powerful family. And had crossed paths with her and knew that it was like this. It was a great relationship. I could tell we were immediately going to be able to get along and work together, and she's mentored me. So they had circles, and I brought in the best of the best from Las Vegas. Steve Wynn's right hand, Elizabeth Blau, who built all of the food and F&B. And one of the first people that she came to 20 years ago to open up the Italian restaurant with Steve Wynn? Paul Bartolotta. Did you know I didn't know that? And so I'm sitting here with Elizabeth, and she's the cousin of my other consultant, because these powerful circles run like that. And she's like, oh, we know you talk to my cousin, we'll get you help. I said, okay. So Elizabeth calls, and boom, she goes down. She said, look, we got to go meet Paul. All right. So we go down the lakefront, sit down. Paul has the whole table set up, rolls out, gets a chair out for her, sits down. And then I get to hear Paul's story when he went to Steve Wynn and opened it up, and Steve threw his food on the ground and told him, pack your shit and get out of here. And he was upset and had it all in his car and ready to go home. And Steve had guests that came in that flew in from Italy. And they were eating every day for 7 days in that restaurant. And Steve just happened to see them the day he told Paul to get the hell out. And he sat down with them, and they're like, do you know what you got here? What do you mean? Steve Wynn don't know Italian food? And they're like, this is legit. This is real from the home. We ate here 7 days in a row. Paul! Rest is history, man. Paul became, from this little town right here, was a king of Las Vegas and connected to these circles. So that's where these around him, we brought the $190 million vision to remodel the casino. We're on budget, on time, and opened the last part of it 2 weeks. And in the middle of that, we opened up Potawatomi Sportsbook, and we're the #2 retail sportsbook in the country. And it's owned and operated by us, started by us, first bet taken by the mayor.
That's right. I remember that. So how many rooms in the hotel?
About, give or take, 512.
Okay. How many restaurants?
About 13.
Okay. And that's everything. I saw the list. I mean, I'm kind of a foodie. So Chinese, Thai, ramen, burgers, you name it. How many bars?
2 main bars. Yeah, big 360 circular bars, and center bars are the marquee of design and decor in a casino.
about concert venues?
So yeah, good thing you asked. You know, that was a touchy one, man. And if you know, we talked about that. The entire casino is not on trust land, and I can only do gaming on trust land. So part of my process is the highest and best use of real estate. And that Northern Lights Theater, as beautiful as it was, it only seated 500 people. I couldn't make enough money for it, and guess what? It's sitting on trust land. You know, I got the Cargill lot next to it that the tribe bought for 6.5 acres, and that is in fee simple, and I could do entertainment there, you know, in the future. And I said, we need to get into sports betting. It's going across the United States. It's all around us, and we need that incremental revenue. So we took that space and transformed it into what is now recognized as one of the top retail sports books in the country. It's experiential. It's got a $2 million kitchen. It's got a mezzanine. I put the Potawatomi Sportsbook studio. I interviewed Gene Simmons, Edward James Olmos, Anthony Pettis, Sergio. We got more coming out for release soon in the studio. I don't know where we're going to take it, what we're going to do, but I knew that, you know, social media and sports betting is a younger male demographic, and we need to do responsible gaming, and I need to get in front of the market, I need to get in front of the universities, I need to get out in front of the communities that understand that this is a new sports betting product, it's a new gambling product, but we need to be responsible about it, and I need a strong RG campaign. Secondly, that studio, we knew that we needed to get the message, to get the media, to get out there, and there's a vision to take that wherever my team wants to take it.
I love it.
So,
all right, you mentioned something real quick. So Rock and Brews is a relationship that you have with the rock band Kiss.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
You know, they partnered with the tribe in California, and I had heard about it, so I went out there and seen it and liked what I seen, and the tribe here needed to see something different, right? And they hadn't meshed with any brands whatsoever or celebrities, and just kept it all pretty much in-house. So in the F&B footprint, we felt that there needed to be at least one brand that we could bring to the table, and it brought excitement, right? Gene and Paul were committed and put together this plan for the Rock and Brews in the stage, and converted this whole area into kind of like a rock and roll casino with them. So, and that was our first brand. They were great to bring on the hype, to show the nation that we're dealing worldwide and bringing celebrities and doing new things and new paths. So,
I got to say this to you, Dom. The most important part about what you do with the venues that I appreciate the most is that it's not just national acts. I mean, you do local acts. I mean, you are a legend in local DJ scenes. I don't know if you know this, because the DJs get to play your venues, and they will never get that exposure if it wasn't for what you set up out there. So props.
That's awesome, man. That whole new upstairs, our 1100 area.
And why is it called 1100 area?
Yeah, just for 1100 Fahrenheit, just because it's hot. You know. Well, we talked about the marquee piece is 1833
Yeah, let's
Club.
talk about the 1833 Club. Why'd you name it that, obviously?
Yep, Chicago Treaty 1833. And you know, I don't know if council's here in the recording, I didn't have a name for it 2 weeks before the opening, right? They kept coming with names and names, but I just didn't feel it. So I was like, well, it's just no name. It's such a beautiful room. It looks like the Ling Ling Lounge in Las Vegas. It's gorgeous. It's a private gaming room with a $1 million kitchen, a $2 million center bar, high-end whiskeys, the best slot machines, table game set, relaxed TVs, gorgeous space, and that was a kind of a food court that was trouble after midnight. Now it's a high-end elite Ling Ling Lounge, Las Vegas style high-limit gaming room, and we called it. And so finally, I'd called one of the elders, and I said, "Hey, man, you know, what's one of the most important dates that comes to your mind? You're a historian, you're an elder, you know everything. 1833." That was the last time all Potawatomi. Well, then that's what it's called, the 1833 Club. And to that end, Tashina, as you know, in the tribal world, you know, you can't come visit your grandmother without bringing her gifts. Could be tobacco, could be a shirt, could be things. You know, you can't come see her. Whatever your grandmother wants, you bring them. So he was. You know, to honor that date and who we are in our brand now that has come to life, we wanted to honor you with this 1833 Club.
I appreciate that. Oh, man. I appreciate that, baby. Thank you. Oh, I'm gonna cherish this. I can't get into the 1833 Club, but I can wear it like I
get. Different bucks and people in the city text me all the time. It's okay.
So let me ask you this. You mentioned the Cargill spot. And what have you done with that area? Because you opened up something brand new this year.
Yeah, we did Potawatomi Amplified and ran a concert series out there. You know, the city of Milwaukee said, look, we have to deliver this RNC to show the nation that we want to bring big events, ESPY Awards, NBA events, All-Star events. And so for us, they had asked if we could host a concert as part of it. I said, yeah, you know, whatever the city needs, we're going to try and do it. So we transformed the lot into, put asphalt and got all the permits from the city, worked as quickly as we could, and pulled together a concert venue for 4 different concerts to run it through the summer. And mostly it was to introduce our new $190 million remodel and our sports book to drive new entertainment attraction and build excitement around the brand. And we knew we needed a big concert to get ready for the RNC. Little did we know it was going to be on the eve of an attempted assassination of the president. And it was devastating for us because it shut down the city. You know, they were all supposed to come over to the casino. We had built the lot and paid the money and set it up, and then boom, everything just got shut down and we lost millions, you know, so it was a tough deal. But, you know, we did Snoop Dogg to prepare for that because, and, you know, Snoop packed the house and my team got trained. We knew security. We knew what we needed to do better. We minded the traffic. We minded the city. We minded the deals, and we delivered, and the team all knew. So and we didn't know, man, we had 7 snipers, 2 tactical vehicles, exit plans. You had no idea what was at our property for Jason Aldean when he came as the closing event. But then, you know, his speech after the assassination ran all the way late, and it was supposed to start at 10, and he didn't let him out till 11:30 midnight, so all of it just came back on us, you know. And it was we were doing so well for the year too, so that was just a disappointing hit for us, man. So you just got to keep your head up and keep rolling.
Keep moving. Tell me, what's next?
You know, that's what we're working with the tribal leaders. What we're seeing coming down the pipeline is the expanded gaming in Illinois and this potential Hard Rock Casino in Kenosha. So for us, we're looking at a 2-year timeline that's going to have a material impact on the business. So when that happens, you know, that impacts. We pay 6.5% to the state, and we pay 3% to the city and county, and they count on me making that money. If I didn't open the sports book, we wouldn't have had the level of revenue that we have because of the competition that opened on the borders. It was critical that I did what I did and when I did it to keep the money coming to the city. They didn't drop a dime. In fact, they seen it go up with what we have done. So that's helped prop them up. So in 2 years, that rug is going to be pulled out from under you. But it's my job to come up with the capital plans and the projects and new avenues to try and make up, not only for the tribe, but for the city, the county, and the state. You know, look, the state's going to be all right. If they're going to allow Kenosha, then they're going to get money out of Kenosha, but it ain't coming back to the city. And the city counts on that 3%. It's critical time, right? You know what's happening. They were propped up by CARES Act. You, like everybody's, you know, shackled with pension obligations that were built up at a time when there were a lot of government workers and things got stripped down. Now we don't have a new influx of population to pick up that tax base, you know. So it's gonna hurt because there ain't no CARES Act money no more laying around for you just to cover up your problems and make it look good and get programs and pay your benefits. You know, it becomes a matter of, you know, dealing with your core programs. And me being 5 years on the tribal government side and running fire and police and the programs and the government and running through CARES Act, I understand the pain and the challenges that are coming. So, but you know, don't count me out of the race.
Oh, I'm not
you
going
know,
to.
I got some ideas, man, to make up to keep the revenue level. Even though they're telling me I could have $100 million hit, I think. You know, I got some plans.
I know you do.
You know, I got a vision, sharing it with the nation. And you guys know, I mean, I moved $200 million across the table, and it's dangerous. You know, you got political figures in government and institutions all around. I'm not just reporting to a body of owners and a board of directors, right? I got a nation and leaders report to a nation and multiple layers around me that make movements in this as difficult as ever be. And I would tell you, in 25 years and raised as a son of a tribal leader and doing what I did, it took everything that I had to get it across the finish line, and I almost didn't. You know, that's just the nature of this. I'd like to say it was beautiful, and sunsets and whistles and music, man. But I think any of you who have been in the real business world and understand this know that what I did was obviously going to raise eyebrows and be difficult to explain to memberships and people, and to get a group together to be able to make that move. But that chairman and his vision and him around him and knowing his people, man, they spoke with the elders, they spoke, they saw it, they backed it, and came on board, and I got it over, man, the hump, and we were able to deliver it, and now it's open, and now I got to do it again, and it's tasking, man. It's heavy,
it is. How many people do you employ?
In the city, man, 2,400,
And the thing that I'm most proud of those 2,400, you brought it up to me. I didn't even know. 70% of those individuals are minority.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right, man. They need this work, and I love seeing them come in, the attitudes, the smiles, individuals in this city that are, the ones most affected by this inflation and cost of goods, and they come in with an attitude, trying to work hard and smile. Hey, Dominic, how you doing, man? When cheering me up, as a CEO, and they're in here working every day hard for that frontline wage, and getting home, barely making ends meet, trying to save, and cost of goods and bags and everything's up, and they're still in here working hard and smiling, and we're training, we're giving jobs, we're telling them, see me, be me, work hard, work your way up. There's no glass ceilings here. You just need to be strong, have a great attitude, and be a collaborator, and join this culture of this new vision of excitement of what we can do. And the most important thing is these 20-year employees who have been with Potawatomi this whole time were blown away with what I did in 2 years, and they had never seen it before happen like that to the casino. So for them to see it, for me to say it, to deliver it, and them to walk around every day, I stopped all the smoking in the main gaming areas. And even though that would raise revenue, I still held the ground, and believe me, they'll fire me if I don't deliver. It don't matter that I'm Potawatomi. It don't matter that I'm here to experience. At the end of the day, these leaders, and what I do is you either deliver or I need to move on, and that's just the tough love of tribal nations in our businesses. So I understand that. I'm up for the challenge. I know what I took when I did this job, so I've only got me to, thank for that one way or another.
So at this point, I'm going to open it up for any questions. I'll have Hillary's going to bring a mic for you. Andy, we're going to give you a mic.
Thank you. I'm Andy. 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 remodelings ago, there used to be a corner bar where a whole bunch of us, I guess of my age, roughly, would hang out and dance to a local bands. Now, none of us are big drinkers, none of us are big gamblers, but it was one heck of a place to come in and enjoy just being there, especially in Milwaukee County. Like I said, 3 or 4 remodelings ago, that was gone. Any chance, maybe as a I don't know, a present to some of us that have no places like that in Milwaukee County, that you could open up a little corner like that?
Love it. In fact, I already got the vision, man, and it's going to come with rock and brews. Don't tell them, but I've got a way to reorient the stage and to actually put in a dance area, and I want to make it like a gaming lounge. So sometimes I want like Sandra Day to come sing, man. Come sing for Sandra Day, man. I went and seen her at Delilah in Las Vegas, and I'm like, that's what we need. That's a gaming lounge environment. It was beautiful. She sang a gorgeous song. I got to meet her. I was stunned. So yes, I got a plan for you.
As you mentioned that specific area, okay, I've been there several times. It's not that good for dancing. In fact, it's impossible to dance.
It is.
And a lot of people that are gambling don't pay any attention whatsoever to the music.
Yeah.
I don't want to criticize, but if you can change that and make it a little more danceable, I think it would be very nice. Man, but thank you very much.
We're on the same page. Oh, you're gonna see it happen too. Wait till you see what we do.
Hill, we have it over here.
Sorry, one second. No,
well, because we have it's
recording.
Yeah.
Microphone.
Thanks.
So I'm Father Bill Johnson at Cristo Rey Jesuit High School, just 2 blocks south there, your neighbor. And we are 92% Latino. Your last name is Ortiz. Is there a Latino side to that? You want to tell us anything about that?
Yeah, both my grandfathers are Mexican, and so that's where the Ortiz name comes from. Yeah, half Mexican.
Habla español?
Un poquito.
Un poquito. So another question I had, you take care of so many people and their needs and their enjoyment. How do you take care of, what do you do for fun?
Yeah, I fish bass tournaments and have for 20 years across this country, from Lake of the Ozarks to Lake Amistad, Falcon in Mexico, half and half in the U.S. I've competed with the best of the best, and I got up to Michigan and ran the BFL series out of the Detroit River and St. Clair, and last year I finally, these guys are good sticks up here, but I caught my game up and was cashing checks and getting trophies, and then came over here. Now I'm competing against your guys in La Crosse and Prairie du Chien and Sturgeon Bay for the Sturgeon Bay Open, running and gunning across the Great Lakes in my bass boat, man. So rode waves in my bass boat as tall as this ceiling and like a surfboard in Lake Erie, and tried not to die, because that's just when you learn your way in these Great Lakes and understand how powerful they are and what they do when we fish tournaments. You're just expected to know that, and you need to know to navigate your weather and survive, because when you run through the river in Detroit, you don't know which way, if you're going Erie or north. You got to be prepared as the day changes, as the wind switches, to be on your toes, or you could die out there, man. It's dangerous, but it's also exhilarating, man. And you can't think of anything else in the world other than paying attention to what you're doing. So I just get lost in it, and all my problems and everything that's going to be there when I get done, I just forget about them, because the only thing that's important is the next cast and my safety and my plan and my deal to run. So these Great Lakes are just beautiful, man. They are beautiful. And the Chippewas tell a story of the tribes meeting Jesus at Detroit River and their elders, man. It's a story with them. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Hello, my name is Thelma. I want to first say thank you to you and the organization, as I play the slots there. And as I meet men and women and see them working every day, I hear them talk about how they're being treated with dignity and respect. But I also hear them say, when you are walking through the building in the hallway, they point out at you and they say, he really is a nice guy. So thank you for treating them with such dignity and respect. And again, I say thank you to the organization, because you all have not pulled away from taking the means of the casino and giving back into the community. The Canal Project, the way you reach out to organizations and invest, your sponsorships, you're making a difference all over this community. And I hope others continue to model how well you all are doing, because you're not off and on. You're consistently giving and investing in a variety of needs. And you're hiring men and women all back and forth out of my community down in the hood. So because you've invested in them and treat them with such dignity and respect, I simply say thank you.
Another thing I want to bring up, you transformed that plot of land. I mean, that was poisonous land. It was a blight, and you've turned it into a world-class entertainment venue, and where people from all over come. So
Showcased on the Housewives of Salt Lake City.
That's right. That's
Bravo
right.
does their show.
Now you know you made it, right?
Now you know. It's like the two things. The first show, what did they do? They came to the newly remodeled Potawatomi, and now we can be that anchor for the city, so they can check that box. If anybody want to bring a big event in big cities, they realize, man, this is a place that people like that will come, and it's next level. Milwaukee knows how to do it. You now have one of the best casinos in the entire region, not in Illinois, not in Chicago. And Bally's is going to try. But, man, we hit the mark on this deal, and we got $1 billion facility, and I remodeled all the decor, and they're not going to be able to have all that bandwidth with that much investment in taxes. So I think, if we continue down, you got to be number one in the market, and we continue that path for the city. It's only great things to come.
Perfect. Any other questions? Oh, hey.
Hi, Derek. Thank you for doing this, Derek. Dominic, I don't want to get emotional. I'm a very sensitive person. I'm first generation non-boarding school. I'm a nominee in Oneida of Wisconsin. The apology from the Biden administration with the boarding school, I think, is a really great step for our people. I thank you for the economic development, everything you're bringing to the state, to the city, to our people. I just am wondering, do you have any thoughts or opinions on maybe what has to happen next on it sounds like your family was boarding school. My family were some of the first at Carlisle, Chief Oshkosh, my fourth great grandfather.
Yeah,
there needs to be a lot of healing in our communities. I just have so many things running through my mind, and I'm so grateful for you, your leadership. I know people in your organization that are in great positions and also, living better lives, having better jobs because of your leadership. So I'm just curious what you might think about that apology and maybe how that can go forward.
Man, we lived it, we're examples of it, and we had to pick our families up, right, and learn everything that we can. So it was, I know Stephen Lewis, the chairman of the Gila River, who was with Biden in that speech, man. I went to a Harvard program for 3 months, the executive general manager program, and he was going to public policy at that time, and I met him, and I would just say, it's an honorable thing to recognize what had happened, because they can't wipe out history anymore. Can't burn the books, man. It's in there forever. So everything that we move forward in our lives, in our nation, in our history is not going to be forgotten and wiped out anymore. You can't burn them. It's done. So everything that's happened, wasn't that long ago, but everything happens for a reason. We were resilient and continue to survive, and even for us to get back around that fireplace and to pick up those traditions, to relearn our language, is a powerful thing. And I got to honor my grandmother, Shuktokwa. That's that color of yellow when lightning strikes, man. She's red, ThunderClan. And I got to recognize her at Hunting Moon, and he didn't say it, but, hard for me to talk about, too. My dad's got ALS. He drank that water at Camp Lejeune. He said, son, there wasn't a bullet that killed me. It was my own people. So he's got 100% disability right now, dying at home.
Sorry about that, man.
So share that with you.
Yeah. So we're at our time. I'll let you come up and talk to Dom afterwards. But Dom, thank you so much. Can we give him a round of applause for joining brother? Get up. I gotta give you some love.
Appreciate that, man. Some love.
Nice, man.
Thank you all for coming. Those of you who are aware, November 18th is our Native Heritage Dinner at Ivy House. We will be featuring Forest County Potawatomi chef, Oneida, Ho Chunk, and I think that might be it. Yeah, I think that's it. So please, traditional, non-colonized dishes. So please join us.